What's up, love doves? Little Raven coming at ya. It's a moon day evening, and I'm a little bit harried. And this is gonna be the intro to the intro. Yes, this is the intro to the intro. I've been working on this episode for a hot minute. Sometimes it's very difficult to create for, a variety of reasons. There's resistances all the time. Creation is organic process. It happens naturally, and like natural things take the time that they need. That's why rivers are so nice, everybody. That's why we enjoy rivers, because they flow. They're not controlled. But sometimes creation is hard. I've been having a hard time creating, but here I am. I'm in the saddle, I'm creating. The reason why I'm doing this whole rigmarole about the intro to the intro is because what I recorded is very heartfelt. However, I feel like I was tripping over my words a lot, and I feel like I was like, the self-doubt thing, the fucking self-doubt thing. It's very, very, very hard for artists. I have so much respect for artists that are just able to like slam things out. I have so much respect for you. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing. Anyways, I recorded a whole thing, but I felt like I was tripping over my words, and I just wanted to say that, like, I think it's okay to trip over your words sometimes. And that's why I'm releasing this. That's why I'm making a whole point about this. Like, I think it's actually healthy to trip over your words, is what I was saying earlier in the archives about that. It's actually okay to be awkward sometimes, because real life is different from digital life. I think this is like very important, or we're all gonna lose our minds, that real life is different from digital life. Not everything can be perfectly curated all the time. So you have to allow things to like exist. You have to allow things to be. Now, the issue is that people want to guarantee that they can make money all the time. That's really the thing. People want to guarantee that they can make money all the time, and so they want to control everything. And everything has to be packaged and parceled and fucking... It's a lot for me. I am an old, grouchy Finnish man, okay? I use things until they break. Like, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to produce the podcast. My headphones, I'm very particular about my headphones. These headphones that I have right now are so fucking old, but they're so good. But they were only made for a little bit, and I can't find them anymore now. They're not made anymore. I'm not gonna start crying about it, but seriously, like, it sucks that these headphones aren't like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe I could. Anyways, what I'm saying is, I had another headphones that imitated these headphones, but they broke. They did not perform as well. And that threw me off, Because the only thing with these headphones, I love them so much, however, I cannot talk Bluetooth on the phone. And I find that convenient. I am a convenience kitten sometimes. I mean, I will acknowledge that. I like being able to listen to music. L Train Radio on SoundCloud. I've been listening to that all the time. L Train Radio on SoundCloud is so good. I like to listen to music, and then when someone calls me, I just hit the button and then I can talk. It's nice. The headphones, they stopped working, and that threw me off. And then other things threw me off. I'm still working nights over here, and it's a real trip. It's a real trip. It's a different type of existence, being awake at night and asleep during the day. So I'm adjusting to that, and I'm down for like new experiences. I'm always trying to accumulate new experiences and stuff. So I'm interested in this new experience of being nocturnal, but it is a real adjustment. So that's also been hard to create. Anyway, enough about me rambling about why it's so hard to create, but really the point of what I was trying to say is that once again, I think it's important to emphasize that it's okay to be awkward in real life. And I think real life is very important and sacred. And I think real life makes things meaningful and beautiful. And I think that we need to like honor real life as much as possible, because if we try to make everything so digital, I think we're gonna drive ourselves insane. I really do. And nobody wants that. No one wants to live in a loony bin, you know? At least I don't. So that's my 2 cents. And then the segment that I was talking about was why I love Mexico so much, and then also what I love about the United States, because I want to be fair and balanced, you know? So I was talking about why I love Mexico so much, and then also the things that I like about the United States. Yeah, other than that, I'm just keeping on, doing the very best I can over here, playing racquetball against the side of my apartment, doing my job, existing, being, breathing, eating good food. Very thankful for good food. Really good Thai food is amazing. Thai Isan, I love Thai Isan, and I also love authentic Thai kitchen. And I also love Thai Longan too, as well. I want to give all the Thai spots, and there's Thai spots I don't know about, and I'm sorry. So barbarian.noetics@proton.me. If I forgot a Thai spot, I apologize. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that in my previous episode, I mentioned an Instagram note that I read that inspired me. And the Instagram note said, "Life is short, do what you want." However, I didn't give credit to the individual who wrote the note, and I think it's important to give credit. So the credit goes to the great Corey Williams. Corey Williams. She is on Instagram. She is a local Phoenix legend, and she's amazing. So you should check her out. She's an influencer and just a beacon of light out in the world. So I'll put it's TACOREY.Williams. Yes, is how to find her. And she wrote the Instagram note, "Life is short, do what you want." And I was like, yes, that's so true. Life is short. We should do what we want. Within reason, of course, you know? Because I've been thinking too about like how just selfishness and greed is like making everything so difficult for people, you know? Like prices are so high and everyone's like having such a hard time. And I see the stress. Like I see the evidence of the stress. People are stressed. And I don't know, obviously I don't have all the answers over here, but I just feel like it's, you know, here's a story. I couldn't sleep last night, so I decided to go on the website for Toyota, because I love Toyotas, as we all know. And I was curious to know, like, and I wanted to go to specifically the Japanese website. I was like, what does the Japanese Toyota website say? Like, what is their like mission statement and stuff? And I was reading it, and it's like very profound, actually. It talks about like how you should always pay attention to spiritual matters because spiritual matters matter. And I was like, wow, that's actually really profound that a corporation is still cognizant of the fact that you should pay attention to spiritual matters. And like Toyota is a very successful corporation. I don't think anyone can argue with that. And it goes deeper. They also believe in like happiness for all and mobility for all. And it's like, those are very beautiful goals, you know, like happiness for all and mobility for all. And Toyotas have been a huge part of my life. Like my childhood, when I was like a maniac teenager, was all made possible by an old 1990 Toyota Camry. And, you know, I still love Toyotas to this day. And I have many friends who love Toyotas. Like Toyotas are good vehicles. And isn't that interesting that this product that actually works, it actually does produce happiness, and it actually does provide mobility for people, which is very important, you know? Like I just went about my day today if I didn't have my dad's old Toyota, I would have to use my electric bicycle, and I'm a grouchy old Finnish man and I'm getting tired, and I don't want to just like be doing everything on the electric bicycle, because electric bicycles, even though they're really fun, the issue with electric bicycles, and I'll say this, the brakes, they run out fast, because, and actually I've noticed this too with like lots of things, lots of vehicles. It's like the brakes are what runs out the fastest. So I don't know what the answer to that is. It's probably just like an engineering thing. It's just hard. It's hard to design brakes that last a long time, because it requires a lot of oomph to like stop something when it's moving. Anyways, I don't want to have to do all my errands on my electric bicycle. It would kind of suck, because I'd also not be able to like when I have a Toyota, so I can put stuff in the back seat and like put stuff in the trunk, and it makes things possible. So Toyota has like really helped me. It has created happiness and mobility. So thank you, Toyota. But I think it's significant that still to this day in 2025, if you go to the Japanese Toyota website, they say on their mission and values that you should pay attention to spiritual matters, because spiritual matters matter. I think this is important for us as a humanity as we move forward in this time. Just my 2 cents. This was a very long intro to the intro, and I think that's it and that's that. So I'm gonna do a transition, and then we'll get into my heartfelt but kind of tripping over my words segment about why I love Mexico so much and the things that I love about the United States. Okay, peace. What is up, love doves? Little Raven coming at you on a Tuesday evening. Tuesday, of course, named after the Viking war god, so it's good to make sure our riles are settled. I really enjoyed it. I have my Latin rhythms class on Tuesday. It helps channel that energy. And as I mentioned in the last episode, Tuesday is a good day to like get stuff done. So I'm like, you know what? I should sit down and record. So that's what I'm doing. Tonight, I'm going to talk about why I love Mexico and why I love the United States. Now, I want to start things off with a disclaimer or clarifying thoughts or whatever. I realize that just as all people, all individual people have positives and negatives, pros and cons, also all nations and places and cultures have pros and cons. Nothing is perfect over here, and nothing should be like romanticized over here. So I'm not trying to romanticize anything. I'm just expressing my personal opinion over here. And I just thought it would be fun to talk about why I like Mexico and also why I like the United States. For some reason, whenever I enter Mexico, I feel happier. I feel lighter. Maybe it's like a thing of excitement of like traveling, of getting out of Dodge. But literally, like as soon as I cross the border, I feel lighter and happier. So I don't know why that is. I realize, like, the other disclaimer too. I'm just one man in a 1-bedroom apartment over here. This is just my opinion, okay? This is just my opinion, man. I don't know. I feel like people are so sensitive about everything. And it's like, if you're a podcaster, you have to talk about something. And everyone has different ideas and feelings. So these are my ideas and feelings. When I go into Mexico, I'm happy. I feel happier and lighter. I just do. I think maybe possibly there's like some magical powers. I don't know. But I cross over or I fly in, and then I'm like, oh, I feel lighter and happier. And I've been thinking about like, why? Why is that? I don't know, obviously, exactly. I'm just speculating. But I feel like it has something to do with like the overall vibe. And the vibe somehow for me feels like running water. It feels lighter somehow, like. And also I realize this as well, that like I'm coming at it from my perspective of like someone who lives in the United States and then travels into Mexico, you know what I mean? I wasn't born in Mexico, so this is just my experience also. But like, I think there's something about, for example, when you go into like smaller villages, smaller cities, in my experience anyways, and I've only been a few places too. I don't know why I feel like I need to make so many disclaimers right now. I just feel like I have to be very respectful right now, because it's just like, I'm not like some sort of expert travel guide over here. This is just like my own little experiences. But I've been to Sonora and Chihuahua y Oaxaca. And I really want to visit Guerrero and Chiapas and other places and all sorts of other spots. Oh, I've been to Mexico City too, as well. I really like how when you get, especially in like, and even in the big cities too, but especially in like the smaller cities and villages, people's businesses and homes are kind of like more intertwined. There's less of a like stark delineation between like, this is the business district, this is the office, and this is the home. And like, obviously I know there's offices and stuff like that, but it's just, it's even like things like restaurants and stuff like that, a lot of times they seem like they're almost incorporated into the home, and it feels like more relaxed. Like it's not so insanely uptight about like, OMG, I have to come here to this office and make this bottom line, or else like all hell's gonna break loose. Instead, it's like, this is my life and this is my home, and then I also like serve food, or I also have like a coffee shop or a smoothie shop or something like that. There seems like there's like this more seamless integration between work life and home life. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because our work is it has such a huge impact on our life. Like whatever we do for our work really impacts our life. So if you have to go to a workplace that's like very like sterile or aggressive, you know, it's very hard then to have like it's hard to like turn it off and go home and be like, now I'm peaceful, even though I just spent all this time in this stressful work environment. So I think there's something to be learned there of like how to coexist livelihoods with home lives in a way that is more like fluid. And it has to do with maybe being a little bit less like obsessed with the bottom line. Another thing I really appreciate about Mexican culture is that it's very like direct and to the point. You know where you stand when you're dealing with a Mexican person. If they like you, you know that they will like you. If they do not like you, you'll know that they do not like you. There's not a lot of like pussyfooting around. It's a very direct and like open and almost like transparent situation. And I really appreciate that. And I think that that's, for me anyways, it just feels really healthy, because some of the most like hurtful experiences I've had in my life have been when I think that I'm good with someone and I build like something with someone, and then I realize it was all fake and phony and they were just playing me, and it was all for like some other ulterior motive. And I'm not, these are like such broad, bonkers, sweeping generalizations, so obviously I know this happens everywhere. And also the other thing is like, we're all humans, we're all the same. That's the thing, like we're all, the whole idea of nation states is absurd to begin with. Like, I get it, I guess I get it. I don't really get it, to be honest with you guys, but it's the world that I live in, so I have to adapt to it. So there's these nation states, and then it creates this like feeling of like separation because of these like invisible lines. But at the end of the day, we all came from Africa, and we're all human beings, and we're all the same. That is the truth. Now, I realize that's also a gross oversimplification, because obviously we're not all the same, because culture is real, and culture has a very real impact on personalities and how vibes go. And that's kind of the point of this whole episode is like breaking down some of that stuff from my perspective or whatever, like how cultures can shift and change, like how humans interact. But I think we can all like learn from each other's cultures, and we can all like intermingle with each other's cultures, and it can actually make us all like stronger. You know, I'm not trying to be like super kumbaya over here, but we don't have to be dropping bombs on each other all the time. We can actually be like, oh, that's really interesting, that thing that you do. You know, you do that thing so different, interesting. Why do you do that? Like, let's find out why. And that can go lots of really interesting places. Then you learn new things. Then it's good for neuroplasticity. It's good for the brain. We all have brains. We all have to take care of our brains. Like, we can all be working together over here. I really feel that. I really, really do. I think humans are, I refuse to let go of my optimism about the human spirit. I think the human spirit is inherently loving and generous. And I think that there's like circumstances that mess that up, but I do not believe that humans are inherently like these warlike psychos. I really don't. And I hope I'm right, because I feel like there's so much potential for this beautiful spinning orb. We're on this beautiful spinning orb. What is water? I mean, what? Water? Are you serious? The oceans? Like, what is going on? Whales? How can you mess that up? There's whales. Like, that's really pretty incredible. If you were some other alien species, like you were an ethereal alien species being, and you came across like a water planet and you saw a whale, you would be like, wow, that is really something else. They float and they sing in the ocean. I mean, and they play. And I saw it in Mexico. I saw how the dolphins like really do like the boats. Like they enjoy playing with the boats. The dolphins were not faking it. They were really having a good time out there. I got completely sidetracked. What was I even talking about? I'm gonna have to take a pause because I don't know what I was even talking about. I remember I was talking about one of the reasons why I enjoy Mexico is because people are so direct and like straight, like you know where you're at with people. That's at least been my experience. And I find like, and I think this is actually true of everywhere, that everything is based upon respect. So if you come with respect, then you receive respect. If you come with disrespect, you will receive disrespect, for sure. But like, I also appreciate that. That's another thing I appreciate about Mexico is like, my experience with Mexican people is like, they hold you accountable. Like if you fuck up, they like hold you accountable. There's no this like, oh, we're just gonna let it slide. It's like, no, we're gonna hold you accountable. And for me, anyway, in my life, I don't know, I think it's been overall like a really positive, that impact, that accountability has been really positive. And then I have like my own relationship with higher power and stuff like that also holds me accountable. But I'm a Leo, so I'm naturally, unfortunately, kind of a selfish asshole. So I have to like, I have to constantly be tempering that with like, no, you're not that important, dude. you're just one node amongst all the other nodes, and you gotta like keep everything in mind. And honestly, it's been like Mexican culture has really like helped me a lot, like with bringing me to that space of like really understanding what humility is and taking accountability for like my fuck ups, and then instead of just wallowing in self-hate, instead of doing that, we can be like, okay, mistakes were made. Now I can examine these mistakes, learn from these mistakes, and then not repeat these mistakes. And I think that's just a lifelong process, and we're all doing it. And that's the other thing I was thinking about, how like everyone is actually doing the best they can. So like even people who are just like real hellraisers, that's like the best they can do right now for whatever reason, you know? Maybe people are whacked out on substances, or maybe they were beaten as kids, but like everyone is actually doing the best they can. And when you think about that, that helps me to like have a lot of compassion for people. And then obviously with my past with alcohol and stuff, I have a lot of compassion for substance abuse and stuff like that. Because everyone's just trying to cope, like the reason why I was drinking so much when I drank is because I was just trying to cope with my emotions that were so fucked up. And that was like the best I could do at that time because I didn't know any better. And there, all those people in my past that helped me out. Like when I was in Australia in Sydney, I acted out. Oh, this is embarrassing. I snuck into a party on Bondi Beach, and it was like a fancy party, and I snuck in, thought I was cool, and I was like drinking and dancing, and then they realized I snuck in, and they kicked me out, and I made a big scene, and I was like, this is fascistic, I have every right to be here. It was very embarrassing. And there was a Maori security guard that actually like escorted me out, and he was so kind to me for no reason. Like I did not deserve that kindness, but he was kind to me anyway. And I even like forgot my backpack. He was firm with me, right? He was a huge gentleman. He was firm. He threw me out of the place. But then I forgot my backpack, and I was like knocking on the door, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I forgot my backpack. And I just remember he looks at me and he's like, I'm doing you a favor tonight. And I will never forget that, and I'll always be thankful for that. He did me a favor that night. He went and got my backpack. He didn't have to do that. He did that out of just pure compassion. I didn't deserve that compassion at all, but he did it anyway. And it really, really like changed my life. I mean, it honestly did. Like, it took me some time to like integrate that lesson, but like the more I think about that lesson, the more impact it has on me. Another time was when like a really, really good cop in Maryland, when I was drinking, and it's embarrassing. I was drinking and driving, and I wasn't doing anything too crazy, but I like ran a couple yellows, and I got pulled over, and he was a kind cop, and he had compassion, and I was getting ready to study abroad. Actually, I was getting ready to study abroad in Australia when this happened, and it would have like fucked up my whole world to get like the Dewey. And instead, he went and he talked with his fellow cops, and he was like, I don't know what he said, but he gave me a second chance. He took my keys from me, had me sleep in my car, and then I passed out, and then I just remember a knock on my window at like 7 a.m, and he threw the keys in the back seat. And that officer, like, probably will never hear this, but like, you really, really changed my life in a positive direction. Like, cause that would have fucked up everything. I wouldn't have been able to study abroad. I would have been embroiled in legal troubles, and I didn't deserve that compassion. And I also realized like, it's kind of like maybe some white privilege also, but I want to believe that there's also that there's many, many, many good cops out there that would do that for everybody, not only white people. I really do want to believe that, but I also have to acknowledge that story is also kind of like a white privilege story. But it happened, and I'm thankful for it. And that officer is amazing. So wherever you are, sir, I hope you're enjoying your life and getting all the good things you deserve, because you're a really good man. So this segues nicely. I don't think I'm quite done praising Mexico, but this segues nicely into talking about what I love about the United States, because there's many things that I love about the United States. There's things that I do not love about the United States. There are things that I do not love. So I want to keep this like a positive episode, but I will say that I certainly don't like genocide. I don't like that. But there's many things that I do like about the United States, and there's many positives about the United States. So the and again, I think this is true of everywhere too, right? But it's just, I was born here, I was raised here, so this is what I know. There's a lot of like really good-hearted people here. there's a lot of really good-hearted people in the United States. People who genuinely they have like a moral code, and they have that compassion within them, and they really just want to enjoy their life, but they also want to help others to enjoy their life. I think that United States people are very generous a lot of the time. I feel like a lot of people in the United States that like have nice things, they like to like share their nice things. They like to throw parties. They like to have big events. They like to share the love. And I think that's really beautiful. So I really believe that if we can lean into our better natures, lean into the better parts of ourselves, our moral codes, whatever ism or religion you subscribe to, as long as it's got a moral code and you believe in helping others and being compassionate, and again, not being perfect or whatever, but like just having that remembrance all the time that we are all human beings, we all bleed red, and we all deserve like the good things in life. Every human being that is born deserves the good things in life, and it doesn't matter where they were born or what their parents believe. That's just a fact, because we're animals at the end of the day. We're just another animal on this planet, and we're just a very unique kind of bonkers animal with opposable thumbs and huge brains, and we've really transformed things, but we're still animals. And having that remembrance, I think, is just going to become more and more important as time goes on, because technology is continuing. Technology will continue to evolve so fast. It's evolving so fast, and the precipice or the danger of that is that the technology will overshadow the humanity, So I think it's just really good to sit back from time to time and remember that you are an animal on a living planet, and think about like what is your moral code? Do you have a moral code? And I think it's good to have a moral code because I think it makes you happier. I think when we help others and are good to each other, it makes us happier. I think when we fuck each other over, it gives you a little high. It's kind of like drugs in a way. Like when you seek revenge or you fuck someone over, it gives you like a little high, but then over time you look back and you're like, oh, that was pretty fucked up what I did. Whereas like when you help someone, that's something you can look back on forever and feel good about. And again, I've talked about this before too. I'm not a believer in like being just a pushover and turning the other cheek. Sometimes you have to like draw a line in the sand. But even when you draw a line in the sand, you can do it in an intentional way. You can try to like harness, like say you're feeling a lot of like anger, you can try to harness that anger and utilize it rather than let it just take you over. And then, unfortunately, when anger completely takes over, then you become kind of demonic. And I don't think that's great. Like, I don't think it's great. I'd much rather live among people that lean towards angelic, because I think that I really do believe that we're in like a much vaster universe than what we see. The 3D plus time around us is we're in it's so impossible. It's very difficult to even conceptualize, but I feel like we're part of like this just indescribably literally infinitely massive organism of intelligence. And I do think that the arc of it bends towards the angelic things. The reason I think that is because anything exists in the first place. Like if the universe was created by someone that just wanted to burn everything down, I don't think there'd be anything, because everything would be burned down to the ground. The fact that that things exist at all means that there is like this loving and I can't think of the word right now, but like the life force, the life force that creates, the creative, giving, generous, loving force. I think that's the real foundation. And now I'm getting a little sidetracked, and you could go on forever about how like it is the yin yang, and everybody has to dance with the devil from time to time, but try not to just be consumed by that. There's like the life force and the death force, and try not to be consumed by the death force. Try to always lean in the direction of the life force, and then it actually makes you happier, I think. We're only here for such a short time anyway. Life is so freaking short. Like, might as well enjoy ourselves and be good to one another and have like good memories. Like, when I lie on my deathbed, I want to have like nice memories. I want to look back and be like, yes, you know, that was good. That was a positive step. And I do feel like this life is kind of school for our souls. So I do feel like we're here to learn. So learning entails making tons of mistakes, and mistakes are part of it. But I think at the end of the day, we do live in a loving universe. A couple more points I want to touch on: food and diversity. So more things I love about Mexico is la comida. I love Mexican food so much. I love like salsa bars. I love like squeezing citrus on meat. I love the spice. I love all the different types of hot sauces. I love carne asada so much. I freaking love the food in Mexico. I was traveling with my friend, and our taxi driver, we were chatting with him with our like kind of broken Spanish, and asking like, you know, how he's doing, like what's up, and where he's from. And he said he's from Mexico, but he has lived in the United States for a while, but now he's back in Mexico. And we asked him why he went back to Mexico, and he said the food. He's like, duh, the food. Yeah, sometimes it's simple, you know. Like, and this is not a smooth segue, but then the other thing I really like about both Mexico and the United States, but especially the United States here, is the diversity of people here. We live in a very diverse nation. There are people from all over the world that inhabit this land. And I think that is a huge, huge strength. And I think it adds so much beauty and fun and culture and music and dance and food and all the good things. When you have people from all over the world sharing a space like that, it's a real strength. It's a real strength of a nation. And I know that like a lot of places in the United States are not diverse, but there's a lot of places in the United States that are diverse, and a lot of cities in the United States are very, very diverse. And I've been very lucky in my life to have grown up in Chicago, very diverse city, and now I live in Phoenix, very diverse city. Now, unfortunately, these cities are also segregated, and that's because the city planners in the past were racist. So that fucking sucks. So segregation sucks, and racist city planning fucking sucks. But when you go into the heart of these cities, you got all kind of people. Everyone wants to have fun. Everyone wants to meet new people. Everyone wants to live life and enjoy life. And that's an example of how we're so the same, how we're all humans. We're all pleasure-seeking animals over here. And we do not have to be dropping bombs on each other. And we could really, really thrive, like as a planet. It is possible, but we have to believe that it's possible. And another thing I love about Mexico is they actually believe that things are possible there. Like, they actually elected a third-party candidate there in Mexico. There wasn't like so much cynicism that they thought that it was just always going to be a two-party duopoly forever. And I'm not saying anyone's perfect. Politicians are all corrupt in my opinion, but still, that's a huge step. Like, they actually elected a third-party president there. So now there's actually a third party in the mix. And again, the more diversity you have in anything, the healthier the ecosystem becomes. And that's very true for politics as well. So if enough people in the United States believe that we can have more options than the two-party duopoly, then the more that reality actually might exist. Because all that has to happen is we have to agree upon the vision. We just all have to agree upon the vision. So I know this is very quixotic, but why not be quixotic sometimes? Because life is short. I don't want to be a dull, mopey squirrel forever, you know? I want to believe that things can change and positive changes can happen. And there's so much to love about the United States. And there's so much to love about Mexico. And let's all get along and be kind to one another. Migration is a human right. I love you all. I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna sign off. Little Raven out.
Now, it's amazing what doesn't exist in the real world. For example, in the real world, there aren't any things, nor are there any events. That doesn't mean to say that the real world is a perfectly featureless blank. It means that it is a marvelous system of wiggles in which we descry things and events in the same way as we would project images on a Rorschach blot or pick out particular groups of stars in the sky and call them constellations as if they were separate groups of stars. Well, they're groups of stars in the mind's eye, in our system of concepts. They are not out there as constellations already grouped in the sky. So in the same way, the difference between myself and all the rest of the universe is nothing more than an idea. It is not a real difference. And meditation is the way in which we come to feel our basic inseparability from the whole universe. And what that requires is that we shut up. That is to say, that we become interiorly silent and cease from the interminable chatter that goes on inside our skulls. Because, you see, most of us think compulsively all the time. That is to say, we talk to ourselves. And I remember when I was a boy, we had a common saying, talking to yourself is the first sign of madness. Now, obviously, if I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. And so in exactly the same way, if I think all the time, that is to say, if I talk to myself all the time, I don't have anything to think about except thoughts. And therefore I'm living entirely in the world of symbols, and I'm never in relationship with reality. All right, now that's the first basic reason for meditation. But there is another sense, and this is going to be a little bit more difficult to understand, why we could say that meditation doesn't have a reason or doesn't have a purpose. And in this respect, it's unlike almost all other things that we do, except perhaps making music and dancing. Because when we make music, we don't do it in order to reach a certain point, such as the end of the composition. If that were the purpose of music, to get to the end of the piece, then obviously the fastest players would be the best. And so likewise, when we are dancing, we are not aiming to arrive at a particular place on the floor, as we would be if we were taking a journey. When we dance, the journey itself is the point. When we play music, the playing itself is the point. And exactly the same thing is true in meditation. Meditation is the discovery that the point of life is always arrived at in the immediate moment. And therefore, if you meditate for an ulterior motive, that is to say, to improve your mind, to improve your character, to be more efficient in life, you've got your eye on the future and you are not meditating. Because the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. As the proverb says, tomorrow never comes. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There never will be, because time is always now. And that's one of the things we discover when we stop talking to ourselves and stop thinking. We find there is only a present, only an eternal now. So it's funny then, isn't it, that one meditates for no reason at all, except we could say for the enjoyment of it. And here I would interpose the essential principle that meditation is supposed to be fun. It's not something you do as a grim duty. The trouble with religion, as we know it, is that it is so mixed up with grim duties. We do it because it's good for you. It's a kind of self-punishment. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now.
In those moments that I find freedom, in the midst of a bad day, good thoughts I greet them. When I'm riddled with anxiety, it's hard to find sobriety. I'm being honest now entirely. Physically and mentally drained, but no matter how life moves, do my best to maintain. I can focus on the positive, a bitch and complain, gripping this fame. Feeling like I'm lost in the game. It's hard to see the bigger picture when you're feeling restrained, cause everything you dream to attain can't fit in the frame. Luckily your mind's a gallery full of artistic expression that can fill up the galaxy. It's okay to not be okay. Just don't let that present mood dictate the rest of your day. Children grow up, go to work, then forget how to play. A lot of people that I meet tell me about their dreams and how they wish they could attain them, even though it seems like it's not a probability. Be nicer to yourself, show humility. While you compare yourself to others on the screen, you can put that phone down, look around and feel serene. But this thing in our pockets are part of our daily routine. Distraction from taking action, full of synthetic satisfaction by dopamine hits from swipe likes and captions. Comparison is destroying your passion. Used to be full of dreams, now you barely have a ration. Yo, listen. If you ain't rich doing what you love, then what's the point? And it's because of this mentality that you can't pass a certain point. Think of the millions of dreamers that did what they did and they died. Some were celebrated, others crucified. I'm not saying quit your 9 to 5. That's unrealistic in this world that we live in, and you must survive. But do not deprive the heart on your sleeve from the blood underneath. Sharpen your sword daily, don't just keep it in the sheath. Wake up every day as if you could relive it. Then whenever you feel negativity, come and just pivot. Appreciate the good and not the bad. Be yourself and not the fad. It's okay to wake up sad, but it's a lot of people that woke up today in body bags. 332,648 to be exact. And you mad that you ain't get that big promotion? Fuck that, man. It's okay to be upset, but don't let it affect your life. Cause 13,860 just lost their life in an hour. 231 in a minute, man, that's 3 a second. Yo, and your heart still beats as you listen. So take it day by day and make the right decision. Add something to this world or multiply division. Focusing on the past is not the present vision. Worrying about the future is just a head-on collision. Living it now if you can. I find it hard myself, but I'm just trying to lend a hand. I said I find it hard myself, but I'm just trying to lend a hand.